Hello, and welcome to the final module of this completely free coaching series brought to you by Coaching Project and me, Stuart Alexander. As per the instructions in the email I sent you, I hope you have a pen and paper to hand to make any notes that you need. Just pause the presentation as necessary. Also, please watch the presentation in full screen mode. Click on the rectangular icon in the bottom right of the video box. Okay, let's get started. The title for this module is Peak Performance. For this module, we're going to be looking at how and when we can be at our absolute best. So what is peak performance? It describes the very best you can be at any task or activity. You may be able to recall truly stellar moments at work, play, or other times in your life when you performed admirably. These were peak performance moments. Clearly, you will not always be operating at peak performance. If you are always at one high level, then that would become average. Instead, our levels vary, sometimes dramatically. Widely used in sport is the term form, which seeks to explain how athletes' performance levels differ. It seems to make no sense that players in sports where there is no physical interaction with an opponent, such as many athletic events, can have large variations in performance. Nonetheless, they certainly do. The same term can be applied, although not widely used, to work activities. You may close out every deal for a month, and then the following month nothing seems to go right. Is this luck, averaging taking place, or form? It's probably a combination of all three. The controllable may well be our form, so we need to consider then what might cause these fluctuations. Outside influences can mean your personal relationships with a spouse or partner, for example, interfering with your work performance. You may be moving home, a very stressful event, or have added pressure as a child is reaching university age and you're worrying about the fees. All these would impact on your focus on work, sport, or other important activities. We need to consider physical fitness, a term used for sport, or health, a term more used for life in general. This clearly will impact on performance. Here we should also think of diet, as certain times of the year our food intake may vary and leave us bloated through overeating or tired through dieting. We may just have got into bad eating habits, causing poor nutrition, dehydration and lethargy. Finally, sports science offers a possibility that people only perform at their peak at certain times of the year. This is in accordance with their physical biorhythms. This could be significant for all, not just for sportsmen and women. What is evident is there are many contributing factors to whether we will be able to reach peak performance at a given time. We must focus on those factors that we can control. We need to introduce a new term to go along with peak performance, and that is state. We are talking here about a state of mind, not a wardrobe malfunction. We can of course experience many states of mind, and we will all be able to understand exactly what that means. We will put our two terms together then and use peak performance state as a description of the state of mind that will facilitate our very best performances. Planning for everything to come together at once is crucial. Those who operate at high levels are familiar with statements such as fail to prepare, prepare to fail, and never a truer word was spoken. It is only those operating at fairly low levels that can experience remarkable days by accident. The achieved standard won't usually compare well to higher performers. Try and imagine the planning that goes into events such as the Olympics. Athletes' careers are shaped by performances for which the opportunity arises just once every 4 years. Consider how careful the planning will be to peak at the right time. If you haven't planned in advance for a big upcoming event, you won't perform at your best. No question. In addition to planning, we must also be self-aware of the state we are in. We have learned how automatic the process of thought to action is, and we need to be able to notice just how we feel at a given time in order to exercise control. Self-awareness is a recurring theme. Remember the importance of being self-aware of your self-talk and body language? A useful way to aid self-awareness is to give labels to various states of mind. Colours are a good idea, as we already use these in normal language, such as red with rage, green with envy, feeling blue. Our angry state can certainly be labelled red. Our calm state can be labelled with a pastel colour of pale blue or green. Yellow for me is a good colour for labelling being ready. It is another of nature's warning colours along with red. You may add as many states and labels as you choose, other examples being bored or stressed. You would need to choose the colours that are best for you. Then, simply imagine being angry, calm or ready and repeat the label a few times. You will mentally link the activity and the label, and if you repeat the exercise frequently, when you arrive in those states, the appropriate label will come to mind. Very easy and very effective. So now let's create our peak performance states. We are going to actively use this prior to an important event to take control of our state and increase the chance of success. We are assuming you have planned and prepared in the best possible fashion. I call mine purple, purely and simply because it is my favourite colour. What I need to do now is to imagine what exactly my peak performance state requires and, importantly, feels like. I would imagine being in complete control of my thoughts, imagining successful outcomes. I would certainly be congruent with my goals, not inventing new ones, but recounting in my mind the things I desire to achieve, especially in the near future. I would be in complete control of my self-talk. I would be reciting my confidence charts and instantly challenging any negatives in the correct way. My body would be functioning at optimum level. My posture would be excellent and all my movements would be controlled. As a result, my chemical cocktail would be perfect. I would be focused on the job in hand. No distractions, no getting ahead of myself, very much experiencing the present moment. We can see that if we think this way just prior to an important event, the chances of us shining are far greater. What needs to have gone before is that this purple state had been rehearsed many times, so that your mind, body and soul understand it. When rehearsed over and over, all that is required is the key word, purple, to be repeated a few times, and your mind will understand exactly what you require. Again, very easy and very effective. We would like this state to be available at all times, but it isn't. We have already discussed why, but we must also grasp the following. State of arousal refers to how up for it you are, put colloquially, or another way, the level of intensity you are experiencing. The job in hand will require different levels of intensity. For example, consider the difference required in intensity between delivering a talk to 200 delegates or proofreading an important document. Or the difference between weightlifting and putting in two sports. Clearly, the first of both examples requires a greater level of intensity or higher state of arousal. The important learning here is that we must not be too intense, too aroused. Science has shown that once past the optimal point of arousal, performance drops off dramatically. The answer? Self-awareness. If you are feeling too intense while attempting to be in your peak performance state, then pop into your calming state for a short time. Then you may return to your peak state when you feel you can. To truly achieve peak performance, we need to be working hard. You will be at your absolute best when you are using all of your skills in a highly challenging situation. To explain further, it is unlikely you will tell your grandchildren that you gave a brilliant talk to 3 people, or you beat a tennis opponent from a division below you. You may have talked well or played great, but the challenge wasn't that tough. But talk to the whole department and the board of directors, or beat the county champion. This you will wish to recite, probably to anyone that will listen. I will reiterate here the givens for peak performance. If you don't rehearse being in the best possible state, and if you haven't prepared perfectly for an upcoming event, you won't experience peak performance. Peak performance is reserved for those who commit themselves to action and work hard. That's only fair, isn't it? Use peak performance states wisely. Save your planning for really big events, things you feel are really crucial. You may use other labelled states for more routine events. So, we have reached the end of this module and the course. I hope you have enjoyed the presentations and put the strategies offered here into good use. The modules have been written to give a basic understanding of key concepts in self-improvement. If you wish to study further and more deeply, I will of course be happy to offer a continuation of these concepts through the other coaching facilities that I provide. Thank you for joining me here, and I hope to be able to support you again soon.